Sydney Johnson. We all have people in our family that are considered the family historians. They know all the stories, they have all the dates, and they have all the information, and it's kind of easy to assume that they're always going to be around to kind of take control of everything. But unfortunately, they will not be. Michael Crichton said, "If you don't know family history, then you don't know anything. You are a leaf that doesn't know it is part of a tree." And I'm going to take a grand assumption and assume that nobody wants to just be a leaf that doesn't know they're part of a tree. And the reason that you haven't started your journey is because you don't know where to start looking for names, putting these together. And you probably think it's complicated, which is completely understandable. I'm here to tell you that exactly where to start, and it can be super simple. I've been dabbling in family history for a long time. I've always been interested in the stories my family's had to tell. I've probably pestered them way too much, and I've taken several classes. So I've learned a lot of helpful information that I will be sharing with you today. It's easy to get started. I'm going to just give you 3 basic steps. First is to just find your ideal family tree and program and add what you know. Then I'm going to talk to you about finding your resources, and the last we're going to talk about recording your own story. Step 1 is to find your tree and write what you know. I'm going to talk about 2 online family trees that are my favorite to use. The first one is Ancestry.com. You've probably heard a lot about it. It's one that everybody knows. It's great for tips. It gives you little hints on what your about ancestors, and it can link you to other trees of possible relatives that are living. It has a huge selection of records. The only downside is that there's a monthly fee. It's not free. It's about $25 a month, or you can do like a 6-month subscription kind of thing. My favorite to use though is Family Search. It's super easy to use. They have thousands of tutorials on how to make it work, and they're really straightforward. They want it to be really user-friendly. It's completely free. And you have free access to all of their documents, and there's more added daily, which is super awesome. My favorite software to use is Roots Magic. It pairs with Family Search, so you can upload what you've done in Family Search to your computer. It has places where you can add stories and photos. It's extremely easy to use, and just like Family Search, they have a lot of tutorials online. It's really, really great. It's about $30 for the software, and then every time they do an update, you might have to pay, but it's totally worth it. There's tons of options, and this is what I found to be the easiest to use. They also have a mobile app that you can have on your phone that's free, that will sync with your phone, with your computer. And then you can, if you're going somewhere, you can add information, or you just heard a story from your grandpa about your great-grandpa, you can add that information right from your phone. It's really great. So it's kind of trial and error, but pick what works for you, and then just start adding the information that you know. It's easiest to start with yourself, because that's who you know the most about. You know your birthday, you know when you did things, and then go backwards. Do your parents, and then do their parents, and just see kind of what you know. It'll kind of surprise you the amount of information that you actually have. Be sure to write down the stories as well. Step 2 is consulting other sources. The first thing I would do is talk to your family. Start with your parents, grandparents, and aunts and uncles. They have a lot more information than you realize. And converse with them. Don't make it like so tell me about this one time or thing. And write everything down. I've talked to my Grandpa Jack several times about some stories that he's had, and I found that the best way to do it for us is I just talk to him and let him do his thing, because he's kind of a rambler, and then afterward I get in my car and I have a notebook and I write everything down that he said. I try to remember as many names as I can. Ask for nicknames, dates, places, and photographs are super great so that you have a face to connect everything with. Next, you can search from Family Search or at Ancestry.com. You just search by name in their search bar, and tons of records will come up. It's kind of a guess and check kind of thing, and you have to practice, and it kind of takes time to get a handle on, but there's tons of helpful tutorials, so it's not as hard as you think it is. Be sure to write everything down so that you don't redo your mistakes. Step 3, document your own life. Now, you might think this is kind of ridiculous because why on earth would we need to do that? But from experience, it's easier to get to know the ancestors that I have that have written things down and have kept things pretty straight for me to go through. It makes them more real. So, and most of the time you're already doing it. You're already documenting your life on Facebook, Blogger, Shutterfly, Instagram. So it's just making sure that you're consistent, really. There's also physical methods. You can do journals, scrapbooks, photos, letters, cards, anything that's important. Try to keep it or write about it. Write about your life. It's important. Like, it's all that you really have. So, and in conclusion, I believe that in order to have a prosperous future, we must look to where we came from. It may seem daunting or overwhelming at first, but the steps I've given you are super, super easy to do, and they don't demand a lot of time. You could take just like 5 minutes out of the month, and you can still learn things, which is great. Please, and there's a lot of avenues to take, and lots of them are free, so cost is not a problem. Please take action today to find your family, and find the connections between the past and the present, and maybe you can look forward with a little more hope to your future.